20-0180, which is a message in order approving a home rule petition to the general court entitled An Act Relative to Certain Affordable Housing in the South End section of the city of Boston. The matters were sponsored by Mayor Walsh and referred to the Committee on Government Operations back on January 25th, 2017. And basically, both home rule petitions seek to use federal funds for redevelopment, specifically the Clipper Ship units at Heritage Housing Developments in East Boston, which is in Councilor Lamentina's district, as well as the West Newton, Rutland, East Springfield public housing development in the South End. These redevelopments necessitate certain exemptions from the Commonwealth's contract and procurement award laws. And we've seen through the council very similar legislations have happened for Whittier Street, Orion Heights, Bromley, Heath, Mission, Maine, Orchard Gardens, Maverick Gardens, West Broadway development, Old Colony, Washington Beach, and Franklin Hill, just to name a collaboration of our housing developments here in the city. And we're also joined here by my colleague, City Councilor Tim McCarthy. So joining us today is Lydia Agro, Chief of Staff of the BHA, and Kate Bennett, who's the Deputy Administrator for Planning. So unless my colleagues have any initial opening comments or questions, we'll get right into it and turn it over to both of you to.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having us. Dear Chairperson Flaherty and members of the committee, my name is Lydia Agro. I'm the Chief of Staff at the Boston Housing Authority. I appreciate the opportunity to come here today and testify regarding the critical importance of this legislation to the Boston Housing Authority, and more importantly, to the residents of the Clipper Ship and West Newton, Rutland, East Springfield public housing sites in East Boston and the South End, respectively. While these are technically two different bills, the bills have both been filed for the same reason. The BHA will not be able to redevelop or provide substantial capital upgrades to these sites in a cost-effective way without passage of this legislation. The BHA filed similar legislation in the past, and with its passage was able to successfully redevelop its Mission, Maine, Orchard Gardens, Maverick Gardens, Franklin Hill, Washington Beach, and West Broadway Homes family developments. In addition, the BHA is in the midst of redeveloping the Old Colony site with the use of similar legislation passed in 2010, and will redevelop the Whittier Street development with similar legislation passed last year. As with these projects, approval of these home rule petitions is solely and specifically for the redevelopment of Clipper Ship and the BHA's South End properties along West Newton, Rutland, and East Springfield streets. Although there have been reforms to the state statutes regarding filed subbids under Chapter 149, the changes are insufficient to allow the BHA to move forward in redevelopment efforts of this kind. Without passage, the project must adhere to an extremely structured filed subbid process, with separate general contractor and subcontractor selection. The BHA and its developers would have no ability to value engineer and/or redesign the project should costs increase beyond the funding available for the redevelopment efforts. The value engineering is where significant savings can be made by allowing the developers to negotiate pricing with various subcontractors. Under existing statutes, changes in design made to reduce cost may require that the bid process begin all over again, putting the entire project at risk. Both Clipper Ship and the South End properties are severely distressed, and our residents who live there, many of whom are children and elderly, deserve better. At West Newton, our developer partner will undertake a comprehensive renovation of the existing brick townhouses. At Clipper Ship, the existing housing will be demolished and rebuilt, along with an additional 30 affordable homeownership units. At both sites, we will ensure one-to-one replacement of existing deeply subsidized units and prioritize existing residents for new units. As with other BHA redevelopment efforts, existing residents have a number of options from which to choose regarding relocation and return to the site. They may choose to temporarily or permanently move to another BHA development of their choice, or to utilize the Section 8 voucher to relocate. Also, families that wish to return to the original sites will be able to do so. In addition, BHA will continue to own the land on which the buildings will be rebuilt and lease it to our development partners. The new housing will replace distressed townhomes with completely renovated buildings in the case of West Newton, and a completely new building at Clipper Ship that fits the neighborhood and needs of the families, elders, and those with disabilities. In both cases, critically needed affordable units will be preserved for future generations. The South End-based affordable housing nonprofit EBA has been selected as the developer for West Newton Rutland Street properties. Wind Development has been selected to redevelop the Clippership site. Our residents deserve to live in suitable and decent housing, as well as feel that they are part of the neighborhood around them. We ask for your support of this legislation so that we are able to make this vision a reality for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lydia. And anything to add at this time, Kate?
No, thank you.
Lydia, total number of units we're talking between both developments, ballpark?
So Rutland, West Newton, East Springfield is 146 units, and
140.
Clippership is currently 20.
20 units.
Mhm.
And then could you just briefly, based on your experience and the number of developments that we've seen, the program and the redevelopment and the revitalization, what percentage of the residents take the Section 8 voucher and don't return versus the ones that do return? Do you have a
The
percentage
percentage of
breakdown?
residents that typically return is about 50%, whether they take a Section 8 voucher or go to another public housing development.
Right.
Not sure.
And is the Section 8 voucher that they're given, is that a sort of a temporary Section 8 voucher, or that's a Section 8 voucher that they can take and go out
That's
anywhere?
up to the family. So
Gotcha.
if they choose to take a Section 8 voucher to relocate, they relocate wherever they choose to relocate,
Right.
and they can do that on a temporary basis and come back, or they
you
can choose to
Stay at a
keep it.
permanent basis?
Yeah.
And then, so how many Section 8 vouchers do we have? I was understanding that I don't know, they were very limited, or that there was a waiting list for them.
It is very limited. It's not clear to what degree the Section 8 vouchers will be available for relocation for these properties. We expect to have some in each case. Typically, about 25 to 30% of the residents want to use a Section 8 versus going to a BHA property. So on a month-to-month basis, we're kind of working our way out of the shortfall that we're in on Section 8. We won't need relocation vouchers for some months, and in the case of West Newton, possibly even a year or more. So we hope to essentially have them available for relocation at the time. If we don't, those residents will still be offered a place within BHA. But they'll still have affordable housing during and after the redevelopment.
And then best case scenario, the projects will start when, and how long will it take for both the Clippership and for West Newton?
Clippership is on a schedule to close by the end of 2017. And the schedule is not firm for West Newton, but we expect breaking ground sometime in 2018. And I should clarify for West Newton, that's slated to be an occupied unit rehab. So the relocation issues there are really minimized.
Questions of my colleague, City Council Salamantina?
Sure. Thank you both for being here today. So Clippership Walk, 20 units there today. When developed this property, there's gonna be 50 units.
Yes.
And will the BHA be controlling those 50 units or just the 20?
BHA will own the ground lease.
Yep.
But Wynn will control the property, the buildings for both the rental and affordable home ownership side. So all 50 units will be managed day to day by Wynn.
By when?
Yes.
And where will they get the list of people that need housing from BHA still?
They'll probably develop a site-based waiting list for the affordable units. If they're Section 8 units, in the end, they will be drawn from the citywide list. Is that right? From BHA's
From
list?
our-
Yeah,
from
from our list.
How many units will be Section 8 base in there?
We hope all 20.
All 20
Yeah.
will be Section 8 base. That stays with that unit.
Project.
Yes.
Project base, so it stays with the unit.
Mhm.
And the other 30,
The other 30 are going to be restricted affordable home ownership units, so they'll be for sale. And so that'll be run, is it through the city's process on that, Chris?
Chris, if you want to make your way down, because you've listed for public testimony, so
Yeah.
if you may be able to shed some light on.
so basically this whole home rule petition is just to allow the developer to go with the lowest bid maybe? Is that what it is? They're doing?
It's not the lowest bid. It's a couple of issues. First of all, with these projects, there's always significant gaps, and so cost is a significant factor. And the Chapter 149 process adds cost. And so we find that when we are transferring a property to the private sector, we can save upwards of 20 to 25% on costs by having some relief from those regulations. Secondly, it allows the developer partners to engage in a design build process with their architects and contractors, which the Chapter 149 process doesn't allow. You have a GC who has to go with the lowest bid subs. And therefore, you have a GC that's not picking their subs, and it's very cumbersome and almost impossible at times to negotiate changes to the scope, which could result in cost savings. So it's really those two factors that are most important.
Great. Are there any federal or state funds being used for this?
You want to speak to
Chris?
Clippership?
Sure,
Chris,
yeah,
if you could
Chris
just
Fleming, Wind Development,
Thank
we're
you.
the selected developer for the Clippership apartment site. Yes, we'll be using state funds and federal low-income housing tax credits for the project.
The West Newton property is slated to be what's called a RAD conversion, a rental assistance demonstration conversion, which is a federal program that's been created essentially in lieu of public housing to put formerly public housing units on a sort of Section 8-like assistant contract.
So you see it closing in 2017 you mean closing? That's when you sign the contract with?
Construction start,
start-
transfer of the property, demolition and new construction start.
Are residents already moving out?
No, we've started a process with them around relocation. We have a meeting actually Monday, the 27th, to kind of formally kick off that process, although we've been in discussion with them about it. We expect most of those moves to occur over the summer and into the fall prior to the closing.
In the south end, they will be moving within their,
Yeah, there's currently 13
Development.
vacant units that have been taken offline due to conditions
Say
there. So
13?
what will
13?
13?
vacant.
So we'll renovate those first, and then kind of use them as hotel units to move folks around as we need to. And we're hoping to avoid doing offsite relocation at all there. It may be due to some roof issues that we have to get people out of there for a longer period of time in some of the townhouses, but we're hoping to do it all on-site relocation.
Now, Chris, how long do you think construction will take place? Will take place in the fall? How long?
Yeah, I think we'll start November, December, and it'll take about 15 months unless we run into something unusual underground. These are 3-story buildings, so they're pretty easy to construct quickly and efficiently, which is one of the reasons we selected that.
And you'll still do the retail space on the first floor?
Yeah, we're going to do retail space on the first floor of the rental building facing Sumner Street, which we think will activate Sumner Street. And the other important thing, I think this is a requirement of the BHA RFP, but a good one, was to create a view corridor down the middle of the site so that looking down Havre Street from 6 or 7 blocks back into East Boston, you'll be able to see the harbor in a way you weren't before. So I think that's going to be an attractive feature.
Great.
Do you have any architectural renderings of either of these sites that
We're
for the
happy to
chair?
forward those.
Be great, like,
We don't
see
have
them.
them with us
Appreciate it.
today.
They're nice.
Yeah, I'd like to see both the
Sure.
Clippership and the South End project.
They're also available on the, for the Clippership apartments are available on the BPDA website. Sorry, hard to get.
I still have a hard time with that BPDA.
Yeah, that's going to take everybody a while, I think.
Any other thing?
No, I think this is great. I didn't realize that there was still funding available for the federal government for these projects.
As far as the sort of like the programming and the, community space, stuff like that, both Clippership and the South End development, do they have that
At
availability?
Clipper Ship, they're building in new community space
Okay.
into that housing, which doesn't currently have its own community space. They use the Heritage Community Room, but now there will be some ground floor gathering space for folks. At West Newton, those are all, units in townhouses. There won't be any new community space built, but one of the reasons we designated EBA is that they have a lot of facilities and programming within the neighborhood that our residents will now be able to avail
Participate.
themselves of.
So one question,
Sure.
just in regards to Clipper Ship, will this meet is this where we put all the affordable housing?
Say again, sorry?
The project,
Yeah.
the big project, is this going to satisfy their affordable housing
Oh,
needs?
the Clipper Ship Wharf project.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, this is one of the sort of fortuitous things that happened with respect to the timing of the Clipper Ship Apartments deal is that the Clipper Ship Wharf project across the street has an affordable housing obligation and is making a $6 million equity contribution towards the Clipper Ship Apartments redevelopment, which is going to allow us to take it from 20 units to 50 units. So it just happened to work out that way, that the timing was right, that could happen. But yes, the Clipper Ship Apartments redevelopment will absorb the off-site IDP obligations of the Clipper Ship Wharf site.
That's 30 more units. Can we get some of those to be low income?
I think the way the calculation is being done is incorporating the existing 20 units, many of which are, you can remind me how low income they are there.
Yeah, they're extremely low. Those are average about $14,000 to $15,000 per household. So for those 20 units, those are extremely low income units.
Yeah, those are
the rentals.
30%.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to see if we could get some more units
Yeah.
in there for families that are in that bracket.
I can send you.
Because I hear about this affordable housing all the time,
Mhm.
right? But the folks that I represent can't afford the affordable housing.
It's, Boston is a brutally
So
expensive
that
place.
really
so.
concerns me.
Yeah.
So I would rather see another 10 units or something go to low income families.
We'll
I don't know
certainly
how
do.
we could make that happen.
Yeah, we'll certainly do everything we can to accomplish that. As you know, this is our main business, creating affordable housing, and I think we're as good as almost anybody in the city at finding ways to get the rates down and the rents down. So we'll do everything we can to accomplish that for sure.
Very good. So that if there's anyone else in the chamber wishing to offer public testimony, you may do so now. Or forever hold your peace. Seeing and hearing no desire for any additional public testimony, I want to take this opportunity to thank Lydia Agro, Kate Bennett, and Chris Fleming for participating today with respect to these two dockets. And our hope is that we'll get the committee report in 2 weeks. Right, that's the next formal council meeting in 2 weeks. So get a committee report turned around and then get it before the council for a vote and get you guys on your way up to get the appropriate funds and keep the ball rolling. Keep up the great work. Appreciate all the efforts that you do into creating affordable housing opportunities and managing the off-site, on-site, and the Section 8. I'm sure that's just lots of moving parts, but you probably almost have it mastered with all the other developments that you've done. So, but nonetheless, it's hard work and it's appreciated, and happy to be a partner here on the council to work with the BHA to keep people in their homes and to try to find home ownership opportunities in this particular instance with Clipper Ship and making sure that public housing that we have there is accessible, but that's also state of the art, and those upgrades and renovations are sort of part and parcel to, we have an old housing stock, if you will, through our public housing development, but we're making steps each and every year to try to make those necessary improvements and upgrades so that we're giving folks a better experience in public housing. So that said, with respect to docket 0179 and 0180, the Committee on Government Operations is adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks so
you.
much,
Thank you.
councilors.